Hi, I'm Greg Munden from Munden Ventures in Kamloops, BC. Thanks for joining me today and listening in on this blog regarding an interesting issue that's floating across the Canadian trucking industry known as Driver Inc. As with all industries, there are those who constantly seek out ways to circumvent the laws, gaining a competitive advantage and jeopardizing the quality above-board players in the sector in the process. Such is the case with the latest tactic being employed by some players in the industry, also known as Driver Inc. As the name implies, Driver Inc. refers to drivers incorporating themselves and hiring onto trucking companies as contractors rather than employees. In employing a contractor, trucking companies do not make such deductions as income tax, CPP, or EI, not to mention negating the costs associated with workers' compensation and health benefits, all while circumventing labor laws that an employee driver would be subject to. Because companies are paying the gross wage to the incorporated driver, they may even get away with paying a slightly lower wage than what might be paid to an employed driver who's subject to these deductions. From there, the incorporated driver receives pay without deductions and then proceeds to make business deductions against his or her income. Of course, the incorporated driver is responsible for declaring his or her own wage and remitting income taxes, CPP, workers' compensation premiums, etc. And to what extent drivers actually fully report their income is unclear, but anecdotal reports indicate it is well below the gross earnings they would have paid taxes on as an employee driver. Already, Driver Inc. is believed to be responsible for more than $1 billion per year in tax avoidance, as well as business practices that are far outside current labor laws. In many ways, the trucking company employing the incorporated driver may not even be crossing any legal lines. After all, it is legal for anyone to incorporate as a personal services business or PSB. However, what they are doing is placing a significant amount of risk on the incorporated driver. The problems begin with the deductions that incorporated drivers then begin to take off their income. PSBs are not eligible to make business deductions like other normal corporations because they do not share the same characteristics as a typical corporation. Things like risk for business losses, ownership of assets, control over the work schedule, etc. PSBs are also subject to combined income taxes of 33% instead of the recent low corporate tax rates of 12 to 14%. As well, PSBs, so drivers who are incorporated as PSBs who drive company equipment, are deemed to be eligible for all of the labor laws of a regular employee, including overtime, statutory holidays, etc. And here's where things could get very sticky for companies trying to use Driver Inc. to avoid these labor laws. CRA, or Canada Revenue Agency, and ESDC, Employment and Social Development Canada, have recently acknowledged that if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it really is a duck. Okay, those are my words. I don't think CRA said that. But they're considering it that way when relating a contract driver under the Driver Inc. model to an employee driver. You can learn more about CRA's treatment of personal service businesses in a link in the blog. Further, CRA indicated they would begin enforcing the requirements for companies to issue T4As to disclose revenue paid out to contracted third parties, which will make hiding income as a Driver Inc. contractor much more difficult. So why would a driver take the risk of becoming a Driver Inc. with all the potential pitfalls? There may be more than one reason for this. First, the driver may be unaware of the risks they are taking. They may have limited knowledge of the laws of incorporation, particularly of a personal services business, and may not have access to high-quality legal or accounting advice. Secondly, some trucking companies are simply making it a condition of employment that drivers become incorporated. They can mislead unsuspecting drivers with incorrect information about the upsides of incorporating, encouraging the incorporated driver to take advantage of their own business deductions and avoiding taxation on their full gross earnings. It's estimated that trucking companies employing the Driver Inc. model may be saving 6% or more on overall operating costs. So in trucking, where margins can often be 2 to 5%, this kind of cost savings is a game changer. Moreover, as the federal government continues to introduce increasingly stringent labor standards related to overtime, leave, notice of schedule changes, etc., it only further encourages trucking companies to be tempted to adopt the Driver Inc. model. Not only is this bad for the trucking industry's legitimate players, it is bad for the Canadian government and economy as a result of the tax evasion that goes hand in hand with the Driver Inc. scheme. Trucking associations across Canada are actively engaged in ensuring governments at all levels are aware of this scheme, as well as warning unsuspecting drivers who may be caught up in this program about the significant risks they are running in becoming Driver Inc. Thanks for joining me for this blog. I invite you to submit a comment, get in touch with me if you want to discuss this further, or click any of the other blog links below to read or listen to any of our other blogs. Thanks. Have a great day.